Kalimera Perya, good morning. Today we're going to be heading to a little hidden gem right in the Peloponnese called FONEAS Beach. Hopefully you do some free diving and spearfishing.
Bava took us on a detour. Oh, church. See? The rocks.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah. And the picture won't even do it justice.
Alright, so we got to FONEAS and we're just going to cross the road right now, hopefully avoid any oncoming cars and walk down this dirt path in sandals. There are some rocks, so just got to be careful and avoid the shrubs. Keep my fins on my backpack and have all my gear in there as well.
Huge rainstorm the other day. I think the rain actually brought down some rocks and stuff because this wasn't so bad the last time I came. But we'll be alright, we'll take it slow. Can you hear the waves?
This is FONEAS Beach. FONEAS in Greek means killer. You may wonder, how could such a beautiful place receive this label? There are various legends about how this came to be. The most common one concerns a pirate who was shipwrecked. He was hiding in the cave, yes, the same one we decided to put our spearfishing gear on in. Rumor has it that he would rob and kill all those who passed by until his ship was repaired. Anyways, despite all this, it is a really beautiful place. I really recommend that you make the trip if you are in the Peloponnese. There's plenty of parking and there's a cool little cafe that serves drinks and snacks. Alright, the wetsuits are on and we are off. The goal of today's dive is to show Brennan some of the cool structure that Greece and the Mediterranean have to offer. We explored a series of different cave systems and obviously did some spearfishing, but spent a good amount of time just kind of free diving and taking some video.
Isn't this amazing?
Whoa!
Do you have your flashlight on you or no?
No, I go get it.
This goes in deeper. Can you get mine too? Brandon!
After exploring all those caves and doing some free diving, we decided it was time to do some spearfishing. This was one of my earlier drops. I spotted some fairly large parrotfish in the distance and tried to lure them in, but was unsuccessful. They saw me, knew what I was, and took off. I only had an 80 centimeter gun and they stayed way out of range. We followed a dive buddy system while spearfishing that I heard about in a Ted Hardy podcast a while back, which worked out pretty well. In the Mediterranean, a float line would spook fish, so we took a float without a float line. The individual next up to dive would take the lead and focus on breathing up, while the second person would be responsible for following and managing the actual float itself.
Yeah, the guy earlier, I was waving at my spear gun, he fucking totally ignored me.
The second goal of the day was to get Brandon a fish. Trying to catch a fish in the Mediterranean is very difficult, and he had yet to shoot anything. So we were scouting for some dentex. I found a spot that looked promising. There was these rock craters here with a fairly deep drop off after that. My goal was to get down there as slow as I could and to hide in one of those craters in hopes of spotting a decent sized fish. During my speto, I spotted Dentex, but he was too small. Brandon was up on the surface and said that there was a bigger fish to my right behind me, but I wasn't able to see it, and when I pointed my gun towards its smaller fish, I spooked the bigger one. So, big mistake on my part. Tried going to a different spot, but was not successful. Unfortunately, we did get skunked this day, but that is part of spearfishing in the Mediterranean. It is very challenging, and you don't always go home with fish, but diving there is like a dream.
Brandon, that away.
Join me on my next journey to the Aegean Sea, where I'll be heading to the island of Kalinos, the sponge diving capital of the world.